Um, they can just join the session as we go along. Okay. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's presentation by the Prince's Trust. A big welcome to Kerry and her colleagues, and thank you for agreeing to participate in this today. Just before we start, I'd just like to go through some housekeeping for the event. So whilst your microphones will be on mute throughout the presentation, we do encourage you to use the chat function in the room to ask any questions. Now you can either do this throughout the session, which is fine, or you can either do, there will be spaces throughout the presentation where Kerry will take a break and ask if there's any questions, or alternatively, you can actually ask the questions at the end where we've allocated some time for some Q&A as well. Okay. I think most of you will know how to use the chat function, but just in case you don't, it's the purple tab at the bottom of the screen. Click on that, and then I think the second tab along, there's two icons of two people, and you can click on that, and then you can obviously, sorry, that's the participants. The first one's where you actually put your chat, actually where the bubble is, the chat. Okay. Okay, so without further ado, I'll just now hand you over to Kerry. Kerry?
Perfect. I've actually just gone on to check the chat and it chucked me out of the call. So I'm going to rely on hopefully Paul or Paula or somebody from Edge Hill being able to kind of check the chat for me and just shout out any questions that I might have missed as they pop up. But as Paul said, I am going to take a few breaks in between showing my screen so that you guys can ask questions as we go along. But welcome to the session. So some of you might have met me before, most of you probably haven't, but my name's Kerry and I work for the Prince's Trust. I've actually worked for the Trust for just over 3 years. In fact, I think it was like 3 years last week that I've been with the Trust, which is exciting. And I'm here to talk to you about enterprise and about how to get support for starting a business with the Prince's Trust. So, Paul, I don't know if you can pull up my slides for me and I will start presenting. Woo, yay, that's great. I'm just going to see if I can flick across. Great. So the big thing about the Prince's Trust, and one of our core values that we believe in and what we use all the time in all the services and all of the programs that we deliver, and that's that we believe that every young person deserves the chance to succeed. So the Prince's Trust has been running the Enterprise Programme for about 37 years now. And in that time, we have actually launched over 90,000 businesses across the UK. So the chances are you have probably downloaded, read, eaten, worn, or had some sort of collaboration or stumbled across a Prince's Trust business at some point without even knowing it. But we don't just deal with business support at the Prince's Trust. We also help young people build confidence. We help young people learn new skills. We've got lots of different programs that help you get a bit of a taster of a certain industry. So if you're not sure on which career path you want to take, there's some fantastic opportunities through the Prince's Trust to maybe try a few different things out first. And for some people, you're maybe not in a position where you're ready to start employment, and actually you need to build up some key skills first. It could be things like communication, teamwork, confidence. So we've got some great programs to try and help with those kind of areas as well. But today I am going to be focusing on enterprise. So I'm really hoping that you guys have got a few business ideas that you might have been playing with. Some of you might have actually started trading. Some of you might have little eBay businesses on the side whilst you're still at university. And if that is you, then this is definitely the kind of program to support you to achieve some of your goals. So we're going to be talking about whether self-employment is right for you. It's definitely not right for everyone. So we are going to be looking at the kind of skills that it takes to be kind of successful in business. We're going to be looking at what support is available through the Prince's Trust. Anybody can get support from the Prince's Trust as long as you're aged between 18 and 30 and you've got that fire in your belly and you've got that business idea, whether it is a product or a service or a skill that you've got that you want to try and utilize to make money from, that can be turned into a business. I've also brought a fantastic young ambassador along with me. Her name is Noor, and she has actually been through the enterprise program. She's also went to university, so she's been sat where you are before. And she's going to tell her story about her experiences right back from when she first went to university, what she achieved at university, joining the enterprise program, and then what she's gone on to be successful with. So I'm not going to do too much talking because I really want the spotlight to be on Noor because her story is so inspiring. So we are going to be focusing on Noor a little bit later on today's session. And then right at the end of today's presentation, I'm going to talk you through how to get involved with the Prince's Trust and how to sign up to the enterprise program. Does that all sound okay to everyone? I know that you've got your microphones turned off, so I'm hoping right now that you're all smiling with your thumbs up and that you're ready to go. So great, fantastic, lots of messages coming through. Hopefully that's all good. Okay, so we'll start with a little bit of information about what you can actually get from the enterprise program. So there's kind of 4 key areas that we look to offer within the enterprise program. There's normally 3 barriers that prevent young people from going out there and starting a business. Lots of people say that they can't afford to start a business. So there's lots of financial barriers stopping people from starting a business. So we do offer financial support. We offer 2 types of financial support. We offer grant funding, which is free money, guys. So definitely apply for that if you get the opportunity. We offer something called a Will It Work grant, which is a small amount of money, normally about £100, £150 to test trade an idea. So if you're sitting here and, for an example, you love animals and you love dogs and you'd love to start a dog walking business whilst we're in lockdown, but actually you need a little bit of seed funding to set up a website and actually do a bit of test trading and see if there is enough of a market out there to want your services, then we can give you that £150 Will It Work grant. You can go out there, start walking some dogs and hopefully see if you can make some money from that business. That is essentially what the grant funding is for. It's a small amount of money to test trade and work out, actually, is this a viable business model? We also offer knowledge. So the other thing that stops people from starting a business is they've got loads of ideas, but they just haven't got a clue where to start or how to go about actually running a business. And if that's what's stopping you from starting a business, then we cover all the knowledge in terms of what you would need through the Explore Enterprise course. So this used to be delivered in a classroom setting where we try and cram as much information about starting a business as we can over a course of 3 days. But since the beginning of the pandemic, so at the beginning of the year, we've actually adapted all of our support to kind of run over 6 video modules. So we cover modules in marketing, sales, finance, bookkeeping, and business planning. So everything that you could need to know about starting your business is put into those modules. And after each module, you get a chance to join something called a webinar. We're at a webinar right now, so you guys are probably used to webinars. You've been doing them with the university, I would imagine. So at those webinars, it's very much around discussion-based learning around what you watched and what you learned within those modules. So that's the knowledge component. And then the other thing that we like to support you with is your confidence. So it takes a lot of confidence to go out there and start running a business. And that's because it can be risky. Not all businesses are successful, and it takes a certain person to go out there and try something like this. So throughout your time with the Prince's Trust, we are going to help you build your confidence through a series of one-to-one sessions. And ultimately, when you go on to start running your business, we're also going to pair you with a business mentor who's going to support you through the first 2 years that you're trading. Anything could happen in your business. Unfortunately, we haven't got a crystal ball, so we can't always predict what's going to happen. And so to be able to have a business mentor that can support you through those first 2 years and help you with some of that decision making is really important, and it can be the difference between a successful business and one that doesn't actually work out. I'm actually going to let Noor talk a little bit more about business mentoring because she's still working with her business mentor and she'll be able to tell you what it's actually like being in that situation. And the last thing that you can get throughout the Prince's Trust is a qualification. So if you decide to take part in all 6 modules, attend all the webinars, do all the research, write a business plan, but then actually through all of your research, you realise that maybe your business plan or your business idea isn't viable right now for whatever reason, then you can still apply for a qualification through the Prince's Trust. And that's a qualification in enterprise that is the equivalent of a GCSE. So you can still apply for that side of things if you decide that maybe you're not ready to start a business. Or you could be super greedy and decide actually you want to do the program, start a business, make lots of money and get a qualification. Then that option is also open to you throughout the program. So this next slide gives you a really good visual guide in terms of how the whole program works. So if you're super savvy with your tech, and you can screen grab that, make notes, take pictures, do whatever you need to do. But this is probably the most important slide in terms of our processes and how it all works. So you're actually sat at stage 1 right now. So you're sat at an information session. So what could happen after this day session? You might think, oh, that's really interesting. Maybe I'll join the Prince's Trust at a later date. Or you might think, this is great. This is exactly what I've been looking for. I've got loads of time on my hands during this lockdown. This is exactly what I need to kind of get my business ideas off the ground. And if that's the case, then you'll get the chance to join stage 2, which is the 3-day Explore Enterprise course. So the next dates for the next set of webinars that we are running will be starting on the 15th of March. And to sign up for that stage, you just need to send me your details. So I will put my email address in the chat box.
Sorry, Kerry, I lost you for a little bit then. I don't know whether it was just my connection or whether anybody else lost a bit of connection then. I heard the bit, was it just me, guys, or was everyone else loud and clear?
Which bit did you hear up to, Paula? And I'll just repeat it.
Yeah, so we seem to have a mixed bit on the chat. Some are okay, some missed a bit. So I got the bit about the March date, but I missed the bit from this is perfect, this is just what I'm looking for. Sorry.
Okay, so just before stage 2. So you know that you're sat at stage 1 right now. So what happens next? And if you decide this is exactly what I want to do, this is the program for me, then what will happen is I will actually put my email address in the chat box at the end of today's session. And all you need to do is email me your details and I'll be able to send you out an application and we can take your process further. Okay, so if you decide that is what you want to do, oh, you wanted the March dates. Thanks, Shane. So the next set of webinars are going to be hosting on the 15th of March. And we do the 6 modules, the 6 webinars over 2 weeks. So they run on Monday, Wednesday and Friday, 10 till 12, starting from the 15th of March. If that isn't a great date for you, we actually host the program on a monthly basis at the moment. So there will be further opportunities to join the program later down the line. I'll just give you those March dates one more time, just to make sure you heard that. So the next set of webinars is the 15th of March, and that's running over 2 weeks on the Monday, Wednesday and Friday. But we do host a set of webinars every month. So if you miss the March dates, there will be April dates, there will be May dates, and who knows, we might even be running the program like this well into the summer. I guess it all depends on what happens with the lockdown restrictions, but hopefully one day we'll be back in the centre and we'll be able to meet face to face and deliver the program face to face again. But for now, it's all done virtual. So the good news is that you can take part in the enterprise program in your bedroom, in your pajamas, which is great. So that's the good news. So after stage 2, we move you forward onto stage 3. So at stage 3, you start working with the Prince's Trust execs, so someone like myself or my colleagues, Paul and Heather, and we'll start working with you on a one-to-one basis and start helping you put together your business plan. We'll give you that £150 to start test trading. And really at this stage, you're really testing lots of ideas and deciding whether this is actually going to be a viable business model for you. And we're preparing you for the business panel. the business launch. Again, Noor will probably be able to tell you a little bit about what it's like to go to panel. But at the panel, that's where you're going to pitch your business idea, you're going to hand in your business plan, and you can potentially go on to apply for loan funding. So through the Prince's Trust and with the small loans company, we actually can offer a loan of up to £5,000 to start a business. So if your business idea is a little bit more complex and you need a little bit more funding to actually launch your business, then there is that option to go for the loan of up to £5,000. Again, that's not compulsory, that is optional, and we only advise that you borrow what you need based on your startup calculations, which will help you during stage 3 to kind of work that out. So that takes us to stage 5. So at stage 5, hopefully you would have learned a lot about how to turn your business idea into an actual business reality. You will have funding to actually get started with your business, and we would already built up a lot of your confidence by taking you to panel. So at stage 5, you start trading, you start running your business, and that's when we pair you with that business mentor. And we say for up to 2 years, but to be honest, once you start that relationship with your business mentor, they're probably going to be in your life for a lot longer than 2 years, depending on how your business grows. So those are the 5 stages of the enterprise program. I'm just going to take a little bit of a break here just to see if anyone's got any questions around those 5 stages, because I appreciate that's quite a lot of information to kind of take in. If you do have some questions, it'd be great if you could use a mic, because I'm struggling to see the chat box without dropping off the call. Any questions so far? No? That is all good. Hopefully that means that I've explained it really clearly and it's really clear in terms of how the program works. Yeah. Great. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what kind of skills we're looking for from you. The enterprise program is very much a two-way relationship. Yes, you can get a lot of support. There is a lot of resources, there's funding, there's all sorts of things available through the Prince's Trust. But ultimately, this is your business, and your business is never going to be successful without the right person behind it. So really, we are already looking for you to come to the program with certain skills. We're looking for young people that are resilient. Okay, business is a really difficult environment. There's going to be highs, there's going to be lows, there's going to be times when you're making and feeling like you're being really successful, and there's going to be times when sales are quite slow. So we are looking for resilient people that can kind of overcome those pressures. We're looking for people that are really, oh, thanks for the slide. We're looking for people that are really passionate and driven. The reason why we want people that are passionate and driven is because that is what's going to get you up every morning. That is what's going to get your sales in. And that is what sets you apart from all of your other competitors. So I've actually brought a really passionate and driven young person on the call with me. And she's going to kind of tell you her story in a moment. I'm just going to finish off on this slide real quickly. So we're also looking for people that are focused and dedicated. Running your own business is hard work. It is not a 9-to-5 job. You're going to hear from Noor in a second exactly how hard it really is. You can't just put your phone down at 5 o'clock and go home and forget about it. When it's your business, you will be thinking about it before you go to bed. You'll be thinking about it first thing in the morning. It is constant and it is hard work. So that is something that you need to think about now before signing up to something like this. Are you ready to commit to something like the enterprise program? So that's something that I want you to consider before sending me your details and signing up. And I'm also looking for people that are professionals. So we want you to turn up on time for webinars, and we want you to turn up and we want you to work through the workbooks, and we want you to use the resources. I want you to think about the way that you communicate, and we want you to think about the way you come across to your clients, because not only is that going to be useful for joining the enterprise program, but it's going to be even more useful when you actually go out there to trade. So when you write your application, if you decide to join the program, I really want to see these kind of skills shine through on your application, because these are the kind of young people that we want to join the enterprise program, because they're the ones that we think that with our skills, potentially you could go on to be really successful. So that leads me to introduce the lovely Noor Kimmitt. I would say that Noor has got all 6 of these skills kind of summed up And if you take away the slides, then you can see Noor in all her glory. Hi, Noor. And she's going to tell you about her experiences through the Prince's Trust.
Thank you. So I will just start. I'm going to start my story back from when I was 18. So I had severe dyslexia, which wasn't diagnosed through my schools. So I ended up doing an embroidery program at university. I graduated, and while I was at uni, I set up my own business, buying and selling jewellery. At that time, I didn't even know that that was called business acumen. I just thought, great, I'll make a bit of money and it'll pay towards some spends probably going out at uni. After that, I graduated with a 2-1, and I thought, great, I'm going to be a designer now. I don't need to do anything in regards to writing or reading because the course was heavily design based, which is what I wanted because of my dyslexia. I went out to London and realised very quickly that it was very hard to get a job. I'd graduated, won loads of awards at university, and thought, what is it about me that stopped me from getting a job in design, which had always been my dream. And that's where I thought my skill set was. I went to London, I got into a few couture houses, I sat in the interviews, and they told me I had to work for a whole year for free without any guarantee of a job. I come from Manchester. There's no way that I can go and live in London. I just didn't even know where I would get the money to do so. So I had a huge cry. For some reason at uni, you seem to think that once you've got this degree, that it'll be so easy to find a job afterwards. And I was literally struck around the face because I realized, oh my goodness, I'm struggling and I don't know what to do now. I have no advice. Unlucky for me, I'd never come across the trust where you guys are now, and maybe I would be in a different business should I have come across it younger. So I ended up applying for a job in recruitment. I was really intimidated. Again, everyone in that interview was from a banking background or economics or sales, and I'd done embroidery. So I went out and bought a suit, sat down, and I actually, to my surprise, got through the interviews and got a job in recruitment. A few months later, I realized I was actually really good at it. It was corporate and there were emails, and yes, I struggled with my dyslexia, but by working on it, I had improved. And after 5 months of being there, I was actually one of the top billers in the business. 3 years on, and looking back to what I did at university and having my own business, even though I did have a comfortable job that I enjoyed, I wanted to set my own business up. But again, this dyslexia fear literally was on my shoulders. Again, it made me cry. I was just like, how do I set a business up? I don't even know anything about business. I did a degree in embroidery, and be corporate and professional as a young woman in business to provide a corporate service. So I Googled it and I came across the trust when I was actually 26 years old, so a lot older than a graduate. I applied for the enterprise program and I went on a 5-day course. So it has shortened. When I did it, it was five days. And it is amazing. Even if you don't know anything about business, they literally give you a crash course on accounting, what's a sole trader and a limited company. They literally break up what's marketing, what it entails. So all the information is there. There's booklets and there's additional help to kind of get you through what is expected to run a business, because I truly thought that I knew how to run a business. And actually, when you go on the course, there's loads of things that you don't even think about. You will be your own secretary because you are a small business. You will be your own accountant and you need to find extra help. You will need to understand how to run emails on a public or private server. These are all questions that the trust kind of points out what you need to think about to set up a business. I then took about a week to write a business plan, and I wrote quite a thorough one, which actually helped me. If you spend time on the business plan, when you go to panel, a lot of stuff is already answered in your business plan. You answer it yourself. So I would advise anyone who is applying to do a thorough business plan. I wanted to set up a business in maritime recruitment, and my business was going to be called Seaworthy Consulting. I wrote up a business plan, saying this, after you do the course, the trust gives you a business plan to follow, because again, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm dyslexic. There is no way I can make this stuff up. I need something to be guided and followed. The trust actually has a really good business plan that you just follow the steps and kind of fill the information out. And it really makes you weigh up if it's a viable business once you get to the end of it. So I do recommend spending as much time as you can on the plan. You then submit that and you go to panel. At this point, you can apply for funding if you want to. I didn't really need help in funding. I was very lucky in the fact that I'd actually built quite a lot of money and saved that up, because I always had in my mind that I wanted to set a business up, but I always knew that I would struggle with the corporate side because I wanted to set up a recruitment agency. There's a lot of legal stuff that goes behind a business, just basic stuff. If anyone's going to have emails or do things online in regards to data protection. And the first time when I heard all of these things in regards to contracts and policies, I was like, oh my God, what is this? But they talk you through it. They literally hold your hand. There are professionals from all over the sectors that donate their time and help you. So whatever seems daunting at the beginning, if you don't get it, that's the whole point of having a mentor and a team behind you. So you go to panel. I knew what I wanted from my business and I was passionate about setting it up. And I enjoyed the panel. I was nervous, but I got through it. I can only describe it as a dragon's den. I don't know if it's changed because of COVID and how it is online, but when I did it, it was 3 people, and I sat at a long table and they asked me stuff about my business plan. Once I'd passed that, I was then teamed up with a mentor. Now, a mentor was really crucial to me because my parents aren't professionals. They don't have professional backgrounds or own their own businesses, and I didn't know anyone. My friends were just like me, and I didn't know anyone in my family who I can turn to if I need assistance when setting up a business. There is questions that will come up if it's in regards to accounting, or even this year in regards to furlough or COVID help or applying for grants. Your mentor will be able to answer questions, and if they're not, because they don't specialize in that sector, they will go back to the trust and say, the person that I'm helping, is there any help or any specialist that could contact them and explain this? I'll give you a really simple example. When I first set up, I didn't understand anything about websites. I knew I needed one. Most businesses are online and need a website, but I did not have a clue what I was asking for. And all the companies that I called were hitting me with huge figures that I could just not afford. So I contacted the trust and said, I specifically need help in regards to setting up websites. And they got me this IT specialist. I literally had a phone call with them for half an hour, and I said, what do I need to ask in regards to a call in regards to website? And they gave me like a list, A, B, C, D. And so when I went back on this call to this company, I looked like I knew what I was talking about. I didn't, but I looked like I knew. But because of that, I managed to get a better deal that was a lot cheaper than my original quotes. And that's basically how the trust can help and support you. They literally hold your hand as long as you reciprocate. I participated in all of the meetings that they had, and did the work to my full capability, because what I didn't realize is when you are a business owner, you've still got to run the business, but when things go wrong, you are still responsible to sort it out and carry on doing your normal day job, which usually when you're employed by someone, you are just responsible for that sole job, not for 10 different jobs. A bit about after your mentor. So I've now set Seaworthy up for 3 years. We've got 90 clients worldwide. I'm in a sector where there are no 27 to 30-year-old women or just young women in the sector, in the maritime sector. It's heavily male dominated, and I've not let anything daunt me. That there always has to be new business, and we can get in and represent new sectors all the time. A lot of people said, oh, your business is very niche. There are specific agencies that you can't compete against, all this negativity. I ignored it and I said, well, I have nothing to lose. I've always wanted to set up my own business, so I'll give it a go because I don't know where I can get to. 3 years on, in a pandemic where a lot of businesses are struggling, I made 20% what I made on the year before. So my dyslexia, a lot of my clients don't even realize I'm dyslexic, yet I opt to do things like this because I know if I mess up talking to people, it's the only way that I will learn and develop myself. Because again, when you run a business, it's actually quite lonely until you employ quite a big team. So for the first 2.5 years of running Seaworthy, it was me answering the emails, doing the calls, doing the client meetings, coming back from a flight and a conference in Amsterdam, and then answering emails in the evening, because you can't let your clients down. You will get a bad reputation. It's all landed where I've now got an employee with me, which I'm really proud of. But it is all about, like Kerry said, determination and just going for it. People will be negative, but you have the support of the trust to change that for yourself. A lot of people just said, you know, you're too dyslexic, you can't read, it's corporate. Well, I managed to get the accreditation. I managed to get through thousands of emails a day. I managed to box off hundreds of £1,000s worth of deals. And, you know, I'm a young female in an industry which is heavily male dominated. I would, you know, advise anyone who has any idea in their mind for a business, at least to get up to the business plan section and to see if it's viable. It's well worth it. So that's all from me, but thank you very much for listening.
Thank you so much. No, I think that's so inspiring to hear from someone that's actually been on the programme rather than listening to me talk about what we can offer. So thank you so much for coming along. I'm really keen to hear from questions, because I'm sure lots of people have got questions about your career and what you plan to do moving forward. So it'd be really nice to kind of open the chat up now to any questions. If it's possible, would people be able to actually use their mics? I don't know if that's possible, Paul, just because I'm struggling with the chat.
I think the system's set up so that people can turn the mics on if they choose to. They should be able to see the mic icon at the bottom and the camera icon. So yeah, that should be okay.
Great.
Yeah, so at this stage, all I'd say is just encourage any students to try and take this opportunity, really. You've got 3 people here who can sort of answer a lot of questions and have got a lot of inspirational stories. So please do feel free to ask any questions.
We've got a hand raised by Lauren. Do you want to go for it, Lauren?
Hi. Hello.
Hi there.
I just wanted to ask a quick question, really. With the regards to your dyslexia, I am also in the same position as throughout high school and college, and even the first and second year of university. I have only just been diagnosed with it now, and I'm 3rd year. So I find it quite hard because obviously I've got a business idea that I want to do when I leave university, and obviously it's going to take me a while to do it because I want to open up my own school for children with learning disabilities with performing arts. But I feel as though with my dyslexia, it's going to be hard because for me, I find it really difficult to put, I know what I want to say, but when I put it on pen and paper and I write it down, it doesn't make sense. So how did you go about it? How did you feel when you set up your own business and go about it?
Thank
I'll
you,
let
Lauren.
Nora say first and then I'll chip in. Go on,
Thank
Nora.
you, Lauren. It's a really good question. So I've just had to adapt what I do. So for reading, for example, I use Google Text Reader, especially if I've got complicated contracts. I listen to it a few times. And usually with writing, I'm the exact same. My writing doesn't make any sense. It's got better, but it sometimes what I imagine I'm saying and what's down on paper is just doesn't make sense. Usually I'd write it and then I would leave it for a while and then I would reread it and see if it makes sense. And usually I'm able to correct that writing. I would just say that when I was just graduating university and where I am now, my writing skills have just developed through the nature of my work. I'm really bad I'm very forgetful. And I actually have made it a habit to have 2 diaries. So I just keep them. One's online that gives me reminders, and another one I write like a daily diary. So especially for business, if I need to post something or send an email, I'll write it in for the next day. So when I'm looking at that diary for that day, I have a tick sheet already of stuff to do. But in regards to the writing, I would usually write something out and then reread it, because that's the only way that I find. Or sometimes if it's really important, for example, I've sent it to my Prince's Trust mentors and said, this is a really important email to me. It can win me a contract. Do you mind just rereading it? I've been really lucky in the fact that I've had someone dedicate their time from the trust just to read out contracts to me and to help me write them correctly. So there is that kind of help through the trust. If that's specifically what you struggle with, then the trust does have very experienced people who excel in that side that we don't, and they are there to help. So they've helped me massively.
Yeah, thank
Just
you.
to add to that as well, so there's no time frame within the enterprise program as well. I think a lot of people think they join the program and they've got 3 weeks to get through the program and start a business. That is definitely not the case. Everybody's business idea is different and everybody's journey is different, and we work with a lot of different young people from all sorts of different backgrounds with all sorts of different complex needs. If it takes you 2 years to start the business, it will take you 2 years. If it takes you 5 years, it takes you 5 years. So don't worry about a time frame or putting pressure on yourself to kind of work through writing a business plan. We work to your time frame and with what you need. So hopefully that helps. Does that answer your question, Lauren?
Yeah, it does. That's really helpful. Thank you. Because even when at university now, I have to get people to read my work and then read it again to make sure it makes sense, because it is a struggle with me. And like you said, the diaries as well. I have 2 diaries, one online and one by side me when I'm doing work, because I'm very forgetful as well. So yeah, both them answers were really helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Kerry, just on that, sorry, just before we go into another couple of questions here, just to support what you were saying, really, that I know that in a previous life, sort of when I used to work with clients who used to come through yourselves, and it was interesting to see the different stages. Some would go through the business plan stage a lot quicker than others, but some would rejig it and sort of following the advice from either the mentors or from sort of the advisors themselves. So it is sort of an interesting point that about its different stages. There's not a particular time scale for that. I'm just looking at Lauren. Do you want to ask your question?
Yeah. So I'm just thinking of your journey and the fact that you started off in uni doing embroidery and things, and now I feel like your business is extremely different to what you've obviously started off with doing. My only worry is that I have a ridiculous amount of hobbies that I do. Like I sew, I do circus skills, I perform in shows and all that lot. And I feel like bringing it all down to just one focus that I'll be doing for one business for like however long it would be running for, I worried that you kind of forget to do all those other things that you were passionate about beforehand. So I don't know if you still do embroidery or anything like that now, but I don't know if that makes any sense at all.
100% it does. So a lot of people always ask me about, I've left the creative side, do I ever use it? First of all, I think the reason why my business is such a success is because I've thought outside the box and I've used my creativity and applied it to my business. But so I still do embroidery as a hobby because I really enjoy it. But I just recently did the business enterprise program again online this year because I am going to set up a secondary business selling nautical jewellery. And jewellery is something that I did at university and I sold. I absolutely love it. My embroidery degree was also partly jewellery. So I've kind of collaborated the two because I've got such a huge following of seafarers around the world. I already have a market there to sell to. So I have gone back to jewellery, but it was a toss-up, to be honest, between jewellery and recruitment when I first approached the trust. I hope in the future that I will have two businesses running, one that is my passion I absolutely love, and the other one is the same, is something that I stumbled on across by accident that I didn't even know that I was good at. So you can always do more than one thing, but I would take it step by step. So I haven't looked at embroidery till now, till my business is successfully running with nearly 90 clients.
Okay, thank you.
Really good advice, actually. It's something that we find a lot with entrepreneurial people is that they have got lots of ideas and lots of things they want to try, which is amazing. But that's why I put focus on the list of kind of skills that we're looking for, because we'll help you narrow down what is achievable now. We still want you to have those long-term goals, and we want you to have all these creative ideas, and we want you to have multiple options to kind of grow all sorts of different businesses. But it's about working out what you can do now and how you can set steps to achieve what you want to go on to get. So yeah, don't forget about those.
I think we'll go to Yasmin and Rowan next. So Yasmin's just said that she's thinking of setting up a counselling and psychotherapy practice. She has an outline plan, but she doesn't know where to start in terms of a plan or strategy. So she's just wondering, can you advise her with that?
I'll take that one. Come to us. So we have set up similar businesses before, especially at the beginning of lockdown. Actually, we had a few people with similar ideas because we know that the lockdown is impacting a lot of people's mental health. So there have been all sorts of different business ideas coming around using singing therapy, using art therapy, using animal therapy. We've had all sorts of different ideas coming across to try and support in this area. So my advice is if you're in this position where you're really passionate about something, about an idea, but you're not sure how to turn that passion from an idea into an actual viable business, that's where the Princess Trust can help. We can help you take those ideas, break them down, and think about where to start. And the advice is always going to be to start small and to start looking at your market, test trading, and thinking about how these ideas can actually be turned into a business. So my advice is to sign up to the enterprise program. You can do it alongside your degree, you can do it alongside working, as long as you're passionate enough about making your idea work and you're the right age group, then you can join the enterprise program.
Just before we move on to Rowan, it's kind of linked into this. So do you have particular templates, formats for particular sectors that people might be able to follow to start them off, or is it just a blank template really?
No, so we have a Princess Trust business template that works for whatever business it is that you're starting, whether you are starting a beauty brand, cleaning, fashion, illustration, gifts, events, apps, IT, landscape gardening, plumbing. whatever the industry is, whatever the skill or the product or the service it is that you want to offer, the components to starting a business are the same. You are going to need a marketing plan. You are going to need to think about your pricing strategies. You are going to need to think about your financial forecast. So no matter what industry it's in, the format is the same. And what we can't offer you specific advice and support on how to do a good makeup look. We're hoping that you can bring those ideas and you can bring the drive and the passion for your business to us. What we can help with is actually the business structure and the logistics of starting your business, and your legal structures and your financial support. All that kind of thing is what we can support you with. The ideas, the product, the service is completely down to you.
Okay. Rowan's just asked, have you had people on the programme that later developed another business?
All the time. This is really common with the enterprise program. When you start researching, you start developing your idea, it can lead to all sorts of other ideas off the back of it, and then you might realize that actually your initial idea is too complex and too difficult to do right now, so then you start looking at different ideas that is achievable, and then grow your business from there. So absolutely. We do something called a pitch. No, I don't know if you remember doing your pitch. We do something called an elevator pitch, and people's elevator pitches change all the time, not just throughout the program, but when you're actually running your business, you'll find you'll have lots of different pitches for lots of different environments. So yeah, definitely it does change, and it can change.
Thanks. I think Olivia's next. Olivia, you got your hand up? Would you just like to ask your question?
Hi, yes, thank you. It was a question for Noor, well, anyone really. Just thinking of your business, it's in a niche market. Would you recommend having a business in sort of aiming it at a niche market, or sort of quite being broad with different services? Just thinking, I haven't got any sort of just business plan in mind. I'm just thinking in general.
I think from advice that I have had in, for example, expanding my own business.
Sorry, no.
I think we've lost Noor. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh no.
No.
I think we've just lost her.
I think we. Okay.
I can kind of help answer that question.
Okay.
So it's oh, she's back. Okay, go on now.
Redisconnected. I don't know how much you heard of that, but I've actually been to a few meetings and spoken to a few people in regards to what.
No, I think we've lost Noor again.
I think we've lost her again.
Harry, do you want to cover this then?
Yeah, so personally, I think it's very much dependent on your ideas. I think it's about research and understanding your audience and understanding your market. A lot of people think the broader that I am, the more people I can hit. But actually, I just end up spending a lot of money on very expensive marketing adverts, trying to capture a bigger piece of the market, but then not actually targeting anybody and not actually being successful with that marketing campaign. So sometimes it's not always better to try and go for a big market. Sometimes it's better to really understand your product, your service, your values, and then you can tailor your marketing to that specific market. So actually, if you have got a niche market, you'll know exactly where to find them, you'll know exactly where they hang out, you know exactly how much excess money they've got to spend on your product or your service. So sometimes being niche can be a real advantage. So I don't know if Noor would agree with that.
Yeah, so I apologize, my internet keeps knocking me off this call. Yes, everything that Kerry's just mentioned, the more specific your market is, the easier it is to know who to approach. So if it's women aged between 25 to 30, or specifically for me, it's seafarers. If you're not a seafarer, then there's no point of sending me your CV. So knowing that makes it easier to know who your client base is, because there's also pointless having 1,000, 100,000 followers on a social media page for your company if only 100 of them will buy your product because it's a load of kids or old women and you're selling motorbikes. It just really depends what you want to sell is a service or a product, and then target that. And online research or even looking through Instagram, you can easily see which kind of people are interacting for those services or products.
Yeah, that leads us on to a massive conversation around influencers and social media, which we could talk about for a long time. But yeah, that's really great advice. Thanks, Phil.
The next question is from Rachel. It centres around creating a business plan. She says that she started one, but she's struggling in finding the words to put into this. By that she means such as help with the business plan, making it flow nicely. So will she receive the support with this, putting it together, making it flow nicely?
Yes, absolutely. So you don't even start to write your business plan until you've actually completed all of your webinars and your modules. And when you do start working on your business plan, what I do when I work with people that I'm on my caseload is I break it down into chunks and set them different challenges to help them kind of create that business plan. But you will be working on a one-to-one basis with a Prince's Trust exec, so someone like myself, to create that business plan. We are not going to let you go in front of a panel and pitch your business idea and present a business plan without you fully understanding it. So don't worry about that. There's plenty of time to work on that.
There was another question from James. Paul has answered it. The question was about where are you based. He was just thinking about webinars and hopefully face-to-face meetings about ready to discuss starting a new business. But Paul has just answered that obviously you're delivering programs virtually until further notice. And we will promote these on your behalf as well to our students to make sure the students be made aware of these.
It's worth mentioning that you guys are actually right in the middle. Oh, sorry. I was just going to say that in terms of where we're based, when we do go back to face-to-face delivery, we are actually based in Liverpool, but Noor went to Manchester. So our sister centre is in Manchester. They've actually got a much nicer centre than us. So, and I know that Edge Hill's obviously based in between as well. So either centre, when we go back to face-to-face, Manchester or Liverpool.
I used both centres, so if the helpers that I specifically need were in Liverpool, I just get the train to Liverpool.
So I've just seen a message pop up about virtual programs. To be honest, we don't know. We're going to have to see. The virtual version has been very popular. I can't imagine us going back to fully face-to-face delivery because it's been so popular, and obviously we've got all the resources now to support people on the program virtually. So I would imagine that eventually we're going to go back to a bit of a blended approach of face-to-face and virtual support. Who's next? I'm lost in terms of.
I think Paul's lost his internet connection now as well. It's obviously a bad time for the internet, but it looks like we've just talked about some Robin's question, haven't you? Natalia's asked, could I get the email to ask for the application, please?
Yes, I will put that in the chat box now. I'm just going to turn my camera off though, because I have to type like this, and I don't want you to see all my double chins. So just bear with me.
It's also worth having a look at some of the the household names that were Prince's Trust businesses at the start. So Dynamo the Magician started off with the Prince's Trust, and Rob was a local enterprise young person who invented the Trunky pull-along suitcases. So in the days when we used to go off to the airport to fly off somewhere sunnier, you see all those little pull-along cases. So one of the volunteers who we have supported our centres has supported Rob all the way through. So yeah, there's some really interesting as Kerry said at the beginning, some really interesting examples. Magician, that's the story with the trust of the first view of okay, what we're going to do to help this guy, right? Template the same, let's start.
Paul, I think you're back.
Yeah, I am back. I am back. I don't know for how long though, so it's just in case it kicks me out again. I can't actually see the chat history now, so I don't know whether everybody's questions have been
There's just
answered.
there's one more question in from Shane, and that's probably the last one because it's 3 minutes to 5 now, isn't it? But Shane's asked, what advice would you give to someone who can't test the market until they've actually set up their business, i.e. property?
I'll answer this one, sorry. So we're actually working with someone that's in a similar situation at the moment. And the advice that we've given them is to have a look at your competitors. So the guy that's actually looking to start his property business is around eco-friendly builds. So we've asked him to get together a focus group of people who he would say would be his typical market, to actually find and try and get as much information out of those focus groups as they can in preparation to discover more about their market and how they're actually going to run their business. So yeah, having a look at focus groups, having a look at your competitors and doing as much competitor analysis as you can is definitely going to help you before you start. Hope that helps.
Great. I think we've got time for one more question. Anybody, if you'd like to, a couple of minutes to 5 now, so we'll try and wrap things up. Unless there's anything else from yourself, Terry, Nora, or Paula.
One more thing I just wanted to mention that's probably quite important. The application form. So I'll put my email address in the chat box there. So if you'd like an application form to apply for the enterprise program, just drop me an email. I just need to know your name, your date of birth, and your contact number. So please make sure you include that in your email. If you don't, I'll always email you back anyway and ask for those details. But on the application form, there's 3 questions really, main questions. And what we want to know is we want to know what your business idea is. Please make that longer than just a line. We really want to know if it's a makeup brand, what is special about the makeup brand. I don't just want to hear that you're making cosmetics. We want to hear more. So please be as detailed as you can when you're describing your business idea. We're also looking for what your skill set is. So what skills have you developed at university or working or in your social life that would be useful for your business? And the third question is, what areas do you think you will struggle with? Why are you looking to get support from the Prince's Trust? What scares you the most about starting a business? Is it getting registered with the HMRC? Is it insurance? Is it tax? Is it having to write a business plan? What is it that scares you the most about starting a business? And then we can make sure that when we do support you on the program, we can tailor the support to what you need. So those are the 3 questions that you might want to start thinking about if you are going to sign up to the program.
As a follow up to that, I think Lauren's just asked a question about what if you aren't sure about what particular route you would like to go down with your business. I don't know whether that means business idea or.
Yeah, so if you know you want to be your own boss, but you don't know what in, then I would say maybe wait to join the program. You're still at university as well. You've probably got lots of commitments going on at the moment. We've been running this program now for 37 years. So we've got no plans on going anywhere. So you've got my email address now. Once you have kind of played around with a few ideas, think about what you're really passionate about as well, because the more passionate you are about your business idea, the more likely it will go on to be successful. So even if you can narrow it down to 2 or 3 ideas, then you're ready for the enterprise program. If you've got 50 ideas, you need to narrow it down more. So we're probably looking for around 2 to 3 ideas maximum, and then we can give you some guidance on that.
Yeah, and I think you've just answered that question from Lauren. She just said that if going to London for a year, could we get in touch after that year? So obviously that same rule applies, doesn't it, really? So.
Yes, absolutely. Like, this isn't your last chance. It's not now or never. We're going to be around for a long time. You'll be able to get in touch with us after university. You might come to us in 5 years' time and be like, right, now I'm ready to start a business. So there's no rush. We just wanted to raise up the awareness of who the Prince's Trust are, what we do, and also to say, do you know what? Self-employment is an option, and it is something that many people have gone on to be super successful with, and there's support if that's the route you want to take. There's lots of support. You just need to know where to find it. You're welcome. Lots of thank yous coming through now. And I just wanted to say a massive thank you to Noor as well for joining us on this session. This is actually the first time I've worked with Noor. I think everyone can agree that her story is so inspiring. And I'm definitely going to be using you for loads more sessions now.
Thank you everyone for having me.
Thank you so much, all. It's Emma again. I've lost my camera now.
Okay. Can you,
He's back, sorry. Or maybe not.
We spoke too soon.
Can I just thank you so much on behalf of Edgehill Careers for your session today? It's been absolutely fantastic, and I think the engagement with the questions really shows that. So thank you all very much, and hopefully you'll be seeing some of our students very soon.
Well, thank you so much for having us. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks very much.
Thanks everyone.
Thanks, guys. Have a good evening. Take care.
Good luck. Bye-bye.
Also, if I didn't answer your questions, you can email them to me as well. For anyone that's left.
Thanks, Gary. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye. Bye.